Great pass rusher, great athlete. If he wants it bad enough, like any player, you can be as good as you want to be. The ceiling is never too high for a guy like that. He should be one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. Anything less than that will be a disappointment. We saw Clowney this year when he was healthy, dominate.
Yep.
Everybody was criticizing him. He's a bust. It's because he wasn't healthy. So if Myles Garrett's healthy, he should be a great player in the NFL.
Yeah, Garrett's a little more, I don't want to say finesse. He bends a little bit better, and I think when you look at Clowney, he's a little bit more powerful, but their numbers and measurables are almost identical when you put them across the board.
Yeah, I feel like the measurables are really close, but I came out with this guy, so I was a huge fan, Julius Peppers.
Yep.
I think Myles Garrett has a lot of that in him as well. A little thicker built to me than Clowney was, but the numbers obviously match up as far as the way he run. Actually a little bit more explosive jumping wise, so I think he's going to be.
And bending the edge. You can see like a speed skater. It's like how low he gets.
Right.
I mean, for an offensive tackle, I was talking to Damian Wood. He said speed beat you, and that ability to get low. He's going to be a tough matchup for left tackles in the NFL if he has, obviously, the passion for the game. And we'll find out. Once you get to the NFL, it's not college anymore.
It was actually funny listening to some guys from LSU talk about him, and when they played him, it's like, yeah, man, we played him. He wasn't really into it like that. And so that makes a lot of sense that you might say, if he really wants to go.
They had a good game plan for him, too.
Yeah.
They ran away from him all day long.
Smart. We finally did something smart on offense.
And then when they went that side, they doubled him up. They chipped him all day. But, no, that was probably his worst tape.
Guys, who other than Myles Garrett on the defensive side of the ball has the greatest potential, do you think?
I love Jonathan Allen from Alabama. I think, he didn't test well, so everyone now is starting to say, well, is he an elite player? Does he have those tools? He's an absolute stud.
He's a stud.
I mean, he has the power. He gets off of blocks.
He could have won the Heisman. I mean,
he was the most dominant player on the most dominant defense in college football, really the last 2 years. I was shocked he came back for this season. So, to me, I just think he's pro-ready. Forget the numbers. The shoulder stuff is long-term. It's down the road. It should not be an issue for him early on. I think he's got right away he'll be a
Think about going back. I did a mock draft last year. I made a mistake of doing it before they declared. Because I had one junior in there that decided to go back was Jonathan Allen. I had him going 19 to Buffalo. And he ended up taking Shaq Lawson. But point is, he ended up going a lot higher now than he would have last year. So you go from maybe 19 to Buffalo. You're going to the top 4, I believe. And I think Jacksonville would be a great spot for him. He could be a 3 technique. He's got great versatility. We had him on the radio a few weeks ago. Daria and I did the Daria Mel show, and he was phenomenal to talk to.
It's like talking to a coach.
Oh, he's amazing. He's articulate. He loves the game. You can hear it in his voice. He loves the game. I mean, he is ready. He's got a chip. He wants to go out and prove that he's a great player. Because people always question with the shoulder. Just a great college player. How will he transition to the NFL? I think Jonathan Allen's going to come in. He's a professional mentality already, and you're going to get a guy.
Your guy Jamal Adams.
That was, and I was going to go there because I was going to go there. But but like, even in talking to Jonathan Allen, I think you look at him and you say to yourself, he is going to be a solid football player, period. Right. He's going to be a good football player in this league. I think Jamal Adams, even more so than Myles Garrett, to me is going to be a star for sure. He's a guy who I think will have a Brian Dawkins-like impact on football games, can play the middle, but he's a guy you want to get involved, a guy you want blitzing, a guy you want in the run package, and I think he can do all those things. And kind of like you said about Jonathan Allen, I talked to him after every loss during the season, and it was like talking somebody out of feeling like they had lost everything because he cared so much. And to me, when you have a player that's like that, that's important.
And he's a leader. He's going to show up every single day.
How about Reuben Foster? You both have him going mid-first round. How concerned should teams be with that whole hotel incident?
I don't think concerned at all. The Reuben Foster, if you say somebody to take, watch him game to game, I see a little Ray Lewis in him as a passionate player. He sets everybody up. He's the leader. He's the take-charge guy of that defense. Jonathan Allen said that. Because I asked Jonathan about Reuben Foster. There's going to be some there's no concerns. He said, come to the practice. So you takes charge on the practice.
He's the alpha dog of that defense.
He's the guy that we look to. When anything was not going right, he settled us down. He got us fired up when we needed to.
He took off 10 pounds this last year, 10
The range in him, Todd, he can play every down. He can cover. He's sideline to sideline. He can do it.
There are some character questions off the field. This is the tough part. And it's more just kind of who he surrounds himself with. And you know how, when you get to the league and more money, more free time, more fame than you've ever had, that's what concerns teams. How is he going to handle it? And maybe it's not even him. Maybe it's all the people around him. So I think that's the concern. But I've talked to I don't know, 10, 12 scouts and guys who have been around him, and the word from everyone is that his football character is exceptional, and he's going to work and grind and be the guy that you expect him to be. We had him going 15, 17, and he could fall a little bit, but I think he's one of the 5 best football players in this draft.
He's there for Indianapolis or Baltimore. Can you imagine putting him next to C.J. Mosley in Baltimore? They'd love to do that. Certainly, Indy needs help at inside linebacker. They've strengthened their outside linebacker spots via free agency. Could go there in the draft, but Foster could be there, which would be pretty amazing. I was in Philadelphia 2 weeks ago with Jaws and the guys, and at fans there after we had our little chalk talk. They want Reuben Foster in Philadelphia.
They're tough.
Jordan Hicks, right? We want Reuben Foster. Everybody wants Reuben because of the passion, the love of the game, and that's what the Eagle fans.
We know Philly fans are passionate.
Philly fans, man. Yep.
Speaking of slipping, guys. Speaking of which defensive find will slip in the second round? Who has real upside? Do you think? Outside of the first round. No, that'd be the second. Outside of the first round, the defensive player who's going to have the greatest impact.
Tyus Bowser's a player. I don't know that it's slipping as much as he's just kind of everyone's realizing how good of a player he is, just evaluating him. Coming from Houston, he had some injuries. He had this past year an injury, got in a fight with one of his teammates and had an injury and missed a few games. But when you go back and look at the production, I think it was 8 games played, 8.5 sacks. He can drop into coverage. I think he's a player that nationally, but a lot of people don't know about, but could be really a productive player in the NFL.
He had that fractured orbital bone in his eye from an altercation with a teammate prior to the Connecticut game. So he misses 5 games. So has 8.5 sacks, 12 tackles for loss. Great workouts. Bowser's special. I think when you look at the secondary, Obi Melifonwu is a safety out of Connecticut who I watched him during the year. There were some times where he was a little shaky, missed some tackles, but he is a special talent like Byron Jones was coming out of Connecticut. He has rocketed up. He could be a late 1. I have him right now early 2, but I think Melifonwu in a defensive back class that I have 18 DBs in the first 2 rounds, which is pretty amazing.
This is why I like you. Way to give UConn some love. And it wasn't even about basketball. You guys are the best. Thank you so much. We'll be talking to you a lot, obviously, over the next month. Appreciate it. When we come back.